have another one. I don't want to hug it. Leah, on the decision theater. I've interacted a little bit in those spaces before, and I'm just curious because one of my takeaways was like sometimes technology is a little overwhelming for certain stakeholders or certain rights holders. I like that term for sure. How did you address? Did you ever have the glossy-eyed like, oh my gosh, 7 screens? Are you kidding me? There's no way I can process all that information. How did you address any hesitation with like being exposed to that much information simultaneously?
Yeah, so I would say we didn't really have too many big issues with that. Granted, this was before we were in our digital world that we live in now, but a lot of stakeholders were really interested in what the decision theater was. So it was actually a draw to get people to attend because they were interested in having the opportunity to be in that space. And so usually we would have all the screens up, but we would only focus on changing things within one screen at a time. And so there is information all around them, but we're focusing their attention on just one screen so that it doesn't become too overwhelming.
Can I add a couple more points later to Jamie's question? Sorry, or are we out of time?
I just wanted to quickly pick up on the decision theatre. Dan's presentation, he showed a mock sort of our impromptu decision theatre, which was in a classroom in the local area, where we basically had 3 projectors that we set up so that we could have three screens. You know, it was a jury rigged job, but it was kind of effective for being able to do it in situ in their place rather than kind of pulling them 700 miles to University of Idaho.
Right. And Meghna, we do have a couple more minutes if you wanted to go ahead and.
I just want to chime into that question because that's something that we keep facing in our project too, in terms of technology and end user challenges. And I think one of the two things actually I want to point out was training, like in terms of like when you have these, end users coming in trying to use your technology, what is the training protocol of how do you introduce to them in a way that, helps them being able to become comfortable in a step-by-step manner without just throwing stuff at them and making them overwhelmed. And the second thing was like, what you want to show to them, the information, what we've learned is like working with them to develop that interface to like what Daniel was showing in terms of working with your community to develop what they want to see. And then they tell you, like you said in your presentation, hey, they don't want to see this stuff at all. They would rather just go back. So what kind of renderings make sense for the community? Your tools should be flexible enough to be able to engage the stakeholder early on to create visualization that makes sense to them, then they will feel less overwhelmed and more. And the same thing we experienced in our project too, in terms of trying to reduce overwhelmness, getting them involved in looking at the graphics itself. So those are 2 things I wanted to add on.
And I think, Dan, did we have a hand raised?
Yeah, I just wanted to chime in to all 3 of those comments. There's a pretty interesting publication that came out around last year about deep maps, and it's using different types of tools to get people involved in whatever tool that you're using or with your stakeholder or right holder. I like that term, to get them engaged, and it's really to get them to utilize some kind of contextual element through a tool set to where they're actually pushing buttons and manipulating things. And I think that may be the secret, but I can send around that article if anybody's interested.
Yeah, definitely. That would be great. Okay, well, we are right at 9 o'clock. Thank you so much for tolerating my being very time conscious here. To those who, and if I offended anybody by using the word Nazi, I apologize for that. I meant it in the terms of Seinfeld's soup Nazi. Thank you so much, everybody, for your wonderful presentations.
Great. Thank you so much, Paula, for keeping us on track. You did a great job. Thank you, Sarah, for keeping our logistics and technology on track. And to each of our speakers, thank you. I really appreciate that this morning, and to everyone who asked questions. The follow-up from this, we will be collating the presentations, the recordings and slides, and getting them ready for a website. And as soon as we have those, we will let the entire RCN, including all of you, know where those are so that you can access them and make that available to other people that you work with. One other follow-up from this, we'll be synthesizing sort of the key lessons that have come from this, and we'll document that. And at some point, if that kind of leads towards the, sufficient thoughts for a publication, then we'll propose that. It could be a significant kind of grand co-author publication from everyone on lessons learned, depending on how that comes out. And then I had a thought that perhaps later on in the year we could do we could offer another lightning talk session or a couple for people who haven't had the opportunity from the RCN to present in this series that we had last week and this week. So thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you, guys. Have a good day.
Mhm. Thanks.
Bye.